Active Management are proud to be the premier sponsor of the Fitness Business Podcast. For the FBP family, this week we have a free download for you to work on your business, not in your business. To get your hustle mode on in 2017, go to fitnessbusinesspodcast.com/active.
Welcome everyone to show 103 with our special guest, Tom Breeze. Tom is the CEO of Viewability, an international video advertising agency. And today you're going to learn why you should be advertising on YouTube and exactly how you can do it, even without a huge budget. Tribe, if you haven't explored a functional training space for your gym, then now is the time. With Queenex Functional Training by PRECOR, there is a unit to fit every space. Plus, education is included to ensure that training is delivered with confidence. You need to jump online and check this out right now. Go to precor.com/fitness business podcast. With clients such as Frank Kern, Neil Patel, Brendon Burchard, Andy Jenkins, and Amy Porterfield, and many other international brands across many industries, Tom Breeze has built thousands of successful advertising campaigns, testing and tracking all of the results. Tom, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
Now, can we start off today by perhaps you sharing with us a couple of apps, systems, or rituals that you might use to stay focused and stay on top of your workload?
Yeah, good question. Do you know what? I had to really think about this and go through with my team to say, like, what do we actually do? Why are we able to really streamline what we do? And I think one of the best things we did probably about 18 months ago, maybe even longer than that ago now, is we said to ourselves, right, we're only going to do one thing, and that was YouTube advertising. And so when we do what we do, it's very, very streamlined. We know what to say no to. If someone asks for something that we don't do, we know to say no. We do it in a polite way, of course. But we are very, very focused on doing that one thing. And then we build systems to allow us to achieve that in the very best way. So we're all about standard operating procedures. We build them out. We are very clear with here's how to do this section. And it becomes very scientific. And we test everything and we focus on everything. And it means that we know where we can get good results. And it therefore means that we have a standard way of doing things. There's always a bit of bespoke to it, but we tend to try and focus on that one thing. And that really enables us to have that focus and know what we're doing and know what to say no to. And as an agency, that's a big thing for us because I know a lot of agencies do a lot of things. They're half creative, half spending money on advertising. They are doing other things for clients. And it's so difficult to run an agency like that and keep on top of things. So we just do the one thing. We run YouTube ads and we know that we can just focus in on that. And we keep a check of our things all the time. So saying no is one of our biggest rituals, really. And then just knowing that we're just focusing on that one thing of generating profit from advertising through video is the one thing we do. So that's we don't necessarily use apps as such to do that. We just kind of know that we just focus in and say, right, we know what we're here to do, and we go and do that, and we're very good at it.
Tom, I love hearing you say that because it is a challenge that many fitness business owners face, and that is being a jack of all trades. And to hear, your example of just focusing on one particular area, I think is really important that we all can think about with our businesses. And as a matter of fact, we had back in show 98, Sue Zimmerman, the Instagram expert, on the show as one of our guests. And she said exactly the same thing. And that was going from being an expert across multiple social media channels to just focusing on Instagram, and you've done that with YouTube. So to everyone out there that's listening, please take these two leaders as examples of how you can run a successful business by focusing in on a niche area. So thank you so much for sharing that with us, Tom. Now, as we've just discovered, your area of expertise is YouTube advertising. So can you talk us through how YouTube advertising can work for a fitness business?
Yeah, so I always think about the audience that I'm speaking to. And one of our biggest mantras when we look at any advertising campaign is to always start with the user. And this is such an important thing because I think a lot of people pay lip service to the idea of focusing on the customer and making sure that we are able to give the customer the best experience. But when it actually comes down to it, I think a lot of people don't actually do that. I think a lot of people, what they do is they say, okay, here's my product or here's my service, here's what I do. Now let's try and package it up, and then we'll try and go and sell it to the marketplace. And in order to get YouTube advertising to work, you've got to flip that on its head. So if you feel like you've got a really clever new product or system or new offering to the market, and then think about, right, how do we sell this to a customer? You're coming from it from the wrong perspective. And I think that this plays true for YouTube, but I think it plays true for any type of advertising, and in fact, any type of promotional marketing. If you're to flip it on its head and think, right, my customers are out there and they already want what I've got typically. What do I need to say? What do I need to do to talk to that customer like I would do if I met them on a one-to-one scenario, and kind of just listen to them and provide something of value to those people? And if you start from that perspective and really focus on the user's needs and wants and their experience and start there, you'll find that your marketing efforts and your advertising efforts become so much easier. It's so much easier to tap into what people actually want and then sell them something that they're happy to pay for than to create something and think, oh, go on, you're going to love this. Go on. And then you've got to become a salesperson to try and sell that thing. It's so much easier when you start from a perspective of what do they actually want to begin with, and start there and think, right, what do we now create in order for them to fit that need? And it sounds like such an obvious 101 marketing strategy, but no one does it, or very few people do it. And it's such a better place to start, because then if you start from that perspective and start with a user in mind and think about what they actually want, then when you create your video, when you target that audience, when you do everything around that, the whole sales and persuasion and effective communication, which is all important and powerful, it just becomes less important. It just becomes like, hey, look, if I know as I recently joined a new gym actually, so I know that when I went there, I was going there and I knew I was going to sign up because of the facilities there. They tried to sell me on all the different features they had available. And I was like, yeah, I don't really care too much about that. And they had their salesperson come and talk to me and sell me on and walks me around the gym and walks me around the swimming pool and things. I kind of already knew I was buying before I was there. So that actually became a hassle to me, but it was their sales method. And I was just like, this is not right for me. I'm walking around the gym because you want to walk me around the gym, and I know what a gym looks like. I know that I want to join already. And so that it became a hassle to have to go through what they thought was a really good sales process. And because they didn't focus on me to begin with, they didn't, like, if they just sat with me and said, okay, look, what are you looking to do? I'd be like, I want to sign up now. They could have just made it a lot more easier for me at that point, but they didn't. They had to walk through everything and go, and that's just kind of like, they're not focusing on me, they're focusing on their system first. And I think a lot of people do that. So it's whenever we start with a YouTube ad campaign, we think with the start with the user in mind. And what people do on YouTube is we all go through moments. And what I mean by a moment is you'll do this with so many things, and sometimes we're unaware of it and sometimes we are aware of it. But so mobile traffic on YouTube has just surpassed desktop traffic recently. But it's so true, because I've got an iPhone, and whatever phone that you've got as well, Chantel, is the chances are when you need something or need to know something or do something, or you want to buy something, or maybe just inspired by something. Those are the 4 moments when you want to know, do, buy something, or want to be inspired by something. You'll typically go to your phone or your desktop computer, and you might go to Google or you might go to YouTube, and you type in what you want to find out about. Mm-hmm. And you might be on Google, you might find some blogs, you might end up on YouTube at some point, and you're saying, okay, how to do this, how to do that. I know that when recently we found out about, must have been just about 2 years ago now, maybe a little bit longer ago, I found out we're having our second child, and it was unexpected, but it was amazing. And as soon as it happened, I was filled with a little bit of joy, but a lot of anxiety, to be quite honest. I was like, right, yeah, exactly, yeah. I'm now filled with joy and tiredness, so it's a different emotion altogether. But when that moment came where we're like, oh my God, we're pregnant for the second time, it was completely unexpected. And at that point, my mind went into a little bit of overdrive of like, right, we have to do so much stuff now. Like, because 1 was hard enough, and 2, I imagine it's going to be a lot harder, and it is. It's like feeling like we've got 5 now. And there's certain things that I went through in my mind of like, right, well, we need a new stroller or buggy or whatever you would call it. And so immediately I went online and said, right, I need a duo buggy. I need a one that fits 2 kids because there's 15 months between our 2 children. So it's quite a small age gap and they're both very young. So they both need to be in the stroller at the same time. And there's very few strollers that are out there that are really good. So I went to YouTube and looked for reviews of buggies that held 2 kids. And I was watching all these different videos from mums, and I wanted to see how these things collapse, how they fold up, if they could fit into the back of a car, which is a new thing. I needed a new car, I found out, to fit 2 kids. And you go through these moments, and it lasts around about 40 minutes on a mobile on YouTube. But you're looking for information, you're searching for information, wanting to find out what to do. And I ended up making my purchasing decision based off videos that I was watching on YouTube, because if a mum reviews it and says it's good, I'll go and buy that one. And this is the thing, is I was in that moment, but during that moment I saw no ads from any McLaren or any other brands that sell these buggies. I saw no ads whatsoever, but these views on YouTube were in the millions, all of them. There was huge amounts of views, people watching these videos from mums demoing products, and the actual brands there were not advertising. And that's crazy to me, because I feel like that's where all the eyeballs are going and no one's there. No advertising is there. And 9 times out of 10 brands aren't there. That's the official stat from Google, is that 9 times out of 10, when we go searching for information that a brand can provide us with, the brand is not there. And it's just such a huge opportunity on YouTube. It works on bidding, so it's nice and cheap because no one's there, so you're bidding against nobody else typically. And you can run ads very, very effectively when someone's in their moment, when someone's in their need. So if we translate this to fitness professionals, personal trainers, people that own gyms, etc., your customers are already out there going to YouTube. They're looking up yoga exercises. They're looking up how to lose weight. They're looking up information that is going to be exactly what your customers are typically looking for. And you can advertise to your local area or a national area or an international area as well, depending on what you're selling. And you can get in front of that audience very easily with YouTube. So when someone types in something like how to lose weight or specific exercises for lower back pain or whatever that might be, there's going to be hundreds, if not thousands, of videos out there on that topic. And most of those videos will have what's called pre-roll ads or in-stream ads that will run before that video. We've all seen it before. We press play on a video, and as soon as we press play, an ad will pop up instead. Mm-hmm. Now, some people feel like those are just reserved for big brands, but they're not at all. Every entrepreneur, anyone that runs a business can run those ads on YouTube. You use it through you have to have a YouTube channel, and then you need to use something called AdWords. You just use the platform to run a video campaign. But you can select the videos that you want your ad to appear in front of. So you can say, right, if there's a video specifically about lower back pain, let's say, and exercises to strengthen your lower back, for example, then if there's any videos out there about that topic, you can decide to run your ads that would hopefully be about lower back pain exercises in front of those videos that people were just about to watch. But you can do it to a local area, so the right sort of demographics, male or female, and a certain age bracket that you get to decide. And so you're getting in front of someone exactly at the moment when someone's looking for that information. So you don't need to be some sort of sales genius to turn them into a potential customer. They are seeing your ad when they're already looking for that information. And so it means that you can really have such a connection from the get-go to start with a situation where, say, for example, I've gone to YouTube, I've typed in lower back pain exercises to strengthen my back, for example, and then there's an ad there that comes up that says, okay, here's 3 simple ways you can exercise your lower back to loosen it out, but also strengthen your core and your back to make it stronger in the long run. I'll be like, oh my God, that's exactly what I've been looking for. And then it just so happens that that's a local gym expert or a local personal trainer who says, by the way, I give you these exercises and they work, but you probably want to come in and just check that you're doing these exercises correctly. Or if you're interested in taking this further, then I do run weekly classes and you can come down to the gym and you can come and work with me, for example. I'm probably doing a very bad example of an ad there, but I'm sure people get the idea, is you can get in front of people exactly that moment when they're already looking for you. And that makes your life as a promoter of your business so much easier, because you're only talking to really hot prospects already. And that's why I feel like YouTube is such a powerful platform to use as an advertising platform.
We're going to break away for something a little bit different. I asked Tom to put himself in the shoes of a gym owner and walk us through the steps that we should take to start advertising on YouTube. Now, he provided a seriously detailed description on exactly how to do this. It is so detailed, in fact, that I decided that it would be most valuable for you to be able to actually read it. So I've created a PDF download with that information from Tom. So all you need to do to access that is go to fitnessbusinesspodcast.com/Tom Breeze, which is BREEZE. Now, to give you the top line points of what he talks about, Tom says that with YouTube, you can really zero in on a specific customer need. He said you just need to focus on that one thing. He said, first up, identifying the person and their intent is essential. Once you know the person and you know their focus, then you can start to create that video ad for them. He said that you wanted the ad to be 2 to 3 minutes long and you want to genuinely give great advice. In the PDF that you can access on the website, Tom gives heaps of detail around creating the content of the ad, so make sure you go and take a read of that. But in summary, he tells you that in regards to YouTube advertising, first of all, you want to have a really great hook to begin with. You need to have very good credibility and content within the ad. And then at the end of the video, you want to make sure that you've got a solid call to action, for example, going to your website. Probably the biggest takeaway that I urge every single one of you to keep in mind is that Tom says that you need to make it as easy as possible for your target audience to take action from the ad. He said that we are all getting very, very used to a really easy way of life, like paying for things online with just a fingerprint and getting it delivered the next day. That is what people are getting used to. So therefore, if there is anything clunky in the process of your YouTube ad and sending people to your website or a call to action, then it's just going to slow down conversions with your potential customer. So you want to make sure that the experience is sleek and streamlined as much as possible. Also, one last thing, when you take a read of the PDF, make sure that you click through to the link to BuzzSumo. It is a really cool website that Tom talks about where you can analyze what content performs best for the customer that you're trying to reach. So one more time, the website link for that PDF is fitnessbusinesspodcast.com/Tom Breeze. Okay, let's get stuck back into the interview where I've asked Tom the question, for those of us who don't have a huge advertising budget, how can we advertise on YouTube?
Of course, yeah. So the videos that you create don't need to be whiz-bang kind of videos, by the way, just so people know. So iPhone videos can be good. Just make sure you put it on a tripod just to keep it stable. And then you can always buy a Rode microphone. So that'll keep the budget low for video production. When it comes to actually spending money with YouTube, you can start with like $10 a day or $5 a day. It's really very cheap, and you can measure absolutely everything. So if you are using something, if you're going to have to use AdWords to run your ads, but if you kind of use AdWords, then there's something called conversion pixels. You can use AdWords ones, which is basically where you just put a special bit of code on certain pages on your website, which means it will just track everything that's happening on your website or what you want to measure. So you can see, let's say, for example, you've worked out for your facility that if someone comes and registers their interest or comes and signs up for a certain program that you have, for example, then you know how much that's worth to you. Then you can do the numbers very quickly in terms of it will track everything inside of AdWords, and you can see how much you're spending and how much you're generating. And if you run an ad, for example, and let's say, for example, you're spending $10 a day, and after the first week you've had 3 inquiries that have turned into two bookings and 1 new customer, and they are going to be paying you $50 to $100 a month, for example, then you can quickly work out your numbers and work out what that's worth to you. But if you know you spent $10 a day for 7 days, that's going to be $70 that you spent. And if you've generated $100 from that, but then you know that you got the recurring income from that as well, and you know what a lifetime customer value might be, then you can quickly work out that your $70 is turning into, let's say, $500. Then do you know that for $1 in, you're getting more than $5 back? You're like, great, well, let's go and spend some more dollars. And you just kind of just slowly increase your budgets. And you won't need to spend much if you're running a local campaign, for sure, because you're probably going to find that you're going to max out at some point. So once you do that, once you've got some kind of good results and you're trying to optimize and scale things, then at that point, what I'd say is like you've chosen one moment, which is for females that are looking to bulk up, for example. Now you might go for males that want to bulk up, or maybe you want to go for people that want to lose weight, or people that want to go for kind of other needs, for example. You can just target those different moments and create different ads for those people. And it means that when you run these ads, you're going to get more and more ads out there targeting different people, different needs, but they're coming through to the website with these different needs, and you can help them take the next step with you.
To finish off, I asked Tom to tell us all about Ad School. But first, let's hear from our podcast partner, MYZANE. MYZANE, the wearable technology partner that enhances paid programming and drives customer engagement. Learn more at myzane.org.
Yeah, of course. So on tombreeze.com, we have a site where it has a lot of free resources on there. So a lot of keynote presentations I've given in San Diego, in Sydney. I was recently in Sydney, actually, so just not too far away from you guys. And yeah, and then and in London as well. So I've given a few presentations, different locations. And so those most of those are free, I think, on Ad School. And so there's lots of free resources there. There are some paid programs in there as well to like run through like specific how to set things up and how to run ads for the first time. And there's lots of other great programs in there as well. So in Ad School, we kind of like look to say, look, if you're serious about running ads for your business, here's some really clever ways of using different strategies, different type of campaigns to make it work for your business. And this, like we built it out about 6 months ago to maybe a year ago now, and we've had great feedback on it. But now we're kind of like going to the whole new level. We've just invested in a studio just next door to my office, and it means that I can kind of create a lot more content, and I'll be creating more and more programs in due course. So yeah, Ad School hopefully will become a really big place to be, and lots of stuff on there. But right now it's already got lots of resources on there as well. So it's a great place to enroll, and you can do that for free, and there's a lot of free resources on there as well.
Well, Tom, look, I want to thank you so much for coming on today. It's been such an eye-opener hearing all about YouTube advertising. What I love the most is that this is not something that's exclusive to our business owners and managers out there who have big budgets. It's available to everyone. It's something that we can all get involved in, make the most out of. And I think that you have been such a fantastic resource in helping us gain a better understanding of exactly what we can do to advertise on YouTube. So thank you so much for coming on today and joining us on the show.
Of course, it's been a pleasure. I love this sort of stuff. So thank you so much for having me.
Get ready for this week's bonus segment, your extra injection of information, education, and inspiration to strengthen your fitness business.
Tribe, it's with absolute pleasure that I welcome along to the show. It is Zsolt Jakowicz. How did I go with that?
Pretty good.
Was
pretty
that
close. That was close. Yeah, okay. Close enough. Yeah.
And Zsolt is the owner and founder of Fitness SF. So welcome along to the show first and foremost. Tell us all about Fitness SF.
Well, for about 25 years, we were a franchisee, and then about 4 years ago, we decided to do our own brand and came up with Fitness SF, and we now own and operate 7 locations in San Francisco, Bay Area.
And in the area. Okay, and you've got PRECOR products within your clubs?
Absolutely.
Okay, so tell us about what products you actually have.
Well, we first got introduced with PRECOR back in the early 90s when one of the reps brought a elliptical on the back of his car, and it was the first elliptical, I think, in California at the time. And I was very skeptical about it. And he's all, no, you got to try this out. It's going to be great. It's going to be a big hit. Also, I'll leave it here for a week and let me know what you think. And, no commitment, so on. So I said, sure, why don't you roll it in? And sure enough, it was an instant hit. I mean, that was back in the early 90s. And ever since then, we've always bought PRECOR equipment. Yeah.
So you've stayed with it ever since then?
Absolutely.
Okay, so what would you say in regards to how having PRECOR equipment has improved your business?
Well, since that early experience with the elliptical, which has been an absolute game changer, I think, in the cardio space, it's been a product that's always been in demand, and people specifically ask for a elliptical. And they not just ask for an elliptical, they ask for a PRECOR EFX elliptical. So whenever you can satisfy exactly what the customer wants, then that's usually to be in a good position.
And do you find that in the sales process, when a member comes into the business, do you find that you introduce the PRECOR products as part of the onboarding process?
Well, sure. There's a big demographic, specifically looks for cardio, and that's sometimes for about 20 to 30% of the clientele, that's exclusively what they use, the cardio. So that's a significant percentage of your gym population. So the cardio is a very significant part of your buying decision. So absolutely, it's critical that you buy the right mix of cardio, obviously the right brand, but also within that brand, the right mix and the right the right amount of each type of piece.
And have you had a chance, because I was lucky enough to just get a great little tour of all of the new products that are now out. Have you had a chance to check those out? Yes,
and we actually just had them delivered in our new location in downtown San Francisco. The new design EFX is phenomenal. We've had great feedback on that. The AMT, I think, in its category is unbeatable, and the treadmill is very good. And right now, with the bikes, those kind of, they're not as used as much as before. So those, every company makes a pretty good one. I think PRECOR makes a very good one. So in that case, if you're going to go with their ellipticals, their treadmills, and their AMTs, then you might as well just go with their bikes. And it's much better that way because then you have the same interface amongst the vast majority of your cardio.
So your members are going to feel comfortable regardless of which machine they're going on.
Right, absolutely. And that's critical, especially now with all the entertainment. It's not just like you go up to a piece of cardio anymore and you just get on and you go. There's so much more to it now these days with all the entertainment and so on that, for the consumer, they want to have where it's a consistent interface, there's a consistent operation that I could go on that and I know exactly what I could find on it. It's going to be consistent throughout all the pieces of cardio, because a lot of people will do a treadmill and then switch to an AMT or vice versa, or incorporate a elliptical as well. So it's important to have that same platform amongst the majority of cardio.
It's interesting that you talk about the entertainment side of things, because one of the things that I saw when I had a tour around the PRECOR stand was a bit of a sneak peek, I think, of some of the apps that are going to be available on the new machines. So it's pretty exciting to see how technology has advanced and what we'll be able to do when we're working out.
Sure. I think, the more that you can make it entertaining and make it exciting and fun, that's just going to encourage use. Usage is going to basically increase results, and results is going to get what's going to bring the customer back.
Totally
It's
agree.
that simple, yeah.
Totally agree. So, Joel, what would you say to anyone that's considering purchasing PRECOR?
Well, I think it's definitely the premium brand in the cardio category. It's something that the consumers are looking for. It's a critical pieces of equipment in your fitness center. And as you mentioned, that entertainment component, is ever changing. So you need a company that's going to be constantly updating that, because if not, then you'll seem out of sync. You'll seem, outdated pretty quickly. So you need a company that's also, has the resources and the motivation to constantly update their offerings, which PRECOR does.
Joel, thank you so much for joining us today on the Fitness Business Podcast.
Thank you.
PRECOR Quickfire 5.
This week's special guest for the PRECOR Quickfire 5 is Alison Flatley. Welcome along to the show, Alison.
Thank you very much.
Now, are you ready for your PRECOR Quickfire 5 questions?
I am ready.
Tell our listeners, why do you do what you do?
Well, I love helping people and really showing them an easy or less complicated way to succeed.
And what's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
Leaders never stop learning, always strive for continuous improvement.
That's a really great piece of advice. And tell us, what's a personal habit that helps you become better at what you do?
I'm a committed reader. I read every single day, and I rarely ever miss a day.
Oh, I love that. Can I ask, how long do you have a set amount of time that you read for?
Well, it depends on what I'm doing, but if I am just working in my office, I take my lunch hour or my lunchtime and read. It's either an industry journal, a couple of chapters, maybe some articles I've saved or seen online, but just constantly leading. And I have what I call a resource file, things I've read that I want to go back to, and I title them based on the topic. So I have great resources over the years on many different topics.
Brilliant. Now, talking about reading, what's one book that you would recommend and why?
One I've read recently that I really recommend is Prime to Perform, and it's written by a husband and wife team, Neil Doshi and Lindsay McGregor, but it's all about motivating teams. And the reason I like it so much is it talks about the balance between what you have to increase in order to get your teams to perform and what you have to decrease or minimize. And the three things that you have to increase are play, purpose, and potential. And then what you have to decrease as much as you can from the workplace is emotional, economic, and inertia. And again, I don't have time to go through it all, but it's a fabulous book on how to balance adaptive performance and tactical performance.
We will make sure that we include that link in today's show notes. And tell us, what will our listeners learn in next week's show?
Well, I'm going to give you a technique that I've used for a number of years to help improve your leadership skills. And it takes 15 minutes a day, and it will change your personal and professional life.
I cannot wait for you to share that with us. Alison Flatley, thank you so much for joining us for the PRECOR Quickfire 5.
You're welcome.
That interview with Alison is coming up next week in show 104. Until then, thank you for joining us for another week of the Fitness Business Podcast. Remember to head online and check out that PDF from Tom Breeze. It is fitnessbusinesspodcast.com/Tom Breeze. And what you leave behind is not what's engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others.
Great show this week that you should be suffering DOMs, delayed onset mind soreness, as you are overloaded and that's when your mind is strengthened. You and your business have been strengthened thanks to the amazing support of our premier sponsor, Active Management. Check out www.activemgmt.com.au only if you want to strengthen your business and your leadership. Don't forget all today's links and notes are found at www.fitnessbusinesspodcast.com, where you can also subscribe and never miss a show and maybe win a prize. Next week is another incredible guest with Chantal, so get ready for more Fit Bizpiration.